following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Heckma Harrison, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
It is a Monday morning inside the SWBC podcast studio here at the Star in Frisco. And it's also a Monday morning at the corner of Ventura and Vintage in Oxnard, California. One final Monday morning in Oxnard. Yes, Mickey Spagnola, 3 days away from breaking camp on Thursday. We are here to wrap up and take a look back at what happened on Saturday, but we're wrapping up the Oxnard portion of training camp as Everson shakes his head when I mentioned Saturday. Can't wait to hear what Everson has to say. You got Bill Jones.
Wait to hear what Heckma has to say.
You've got
he's going to be on it.
Everson Walls. You've got Heckma Harrison. And the sun has come out in Oxnard, California, Mickey, despite the fact of what happened on Saturday night at SoFi Stadium.
Well,
that's your cue,
when you
Mickey.
played, I know.
It's hard to put.
I was trying to.
Mickey.
I wanted to make sure you weren't asking everybody that question, and I talked over everybody because there is a delay.
We're gonna have our moments.
What happened? What happened? It was, as I just told Heckma off the air, it was a typical first preseason game for the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody played.
That's it.
Did he freeze?
I think that's hey,
What is that?
That sums.
I think you know what
that sums it up.
You know what's happened here, Everson and Heckma? I think producer Supreme has told Mickey he's talking too much.
All right, well, look, okay. If you're going, are you throwing it to us, Mick? You're throwing it to us. Are we good? You good? You're throwing it to us.
Okay,
go ahead until I have to interrupt you because the only person in that stadium that knew who played for the Cowboys was Bill Jones.
Well, only because
I've got a big green notebook.
Exactly, and a roster right there in front of it.
Because I'm the only one who's done all the research on the 90 players that are playing on both sides. It's the last 45 that you got to really do the research on these preseason games. The top 45, they're not involved.
I got to say, Bill and his team, they were the highlight of the game itself. Because the game was, man, to me, it was just deja vu. That's all it was, just deja vu. Now, you could have stopped with that one, Spags.
Well, did you recognize anybody playing?
No, I don't recognize anybody playing during the season either half the time, especially with all the injuries that we have.
Well, that's a big problem for this show.
So, well, I saw Awesome Richards out there.
Yep.
Okay, he's a backup.
Okay, yeah, he's a backup, but he's been here more than 1 year. Let me hear. Give me something.
Let's get Heckma to.
Thank you.
Share his
Heckma's
thoughts.
gonna bring it real.
Here's the thing. I've been watching y'all fight this thing out. So, look, I'm the new guy in here.
No, you're not.
I'm letting y'all fight it out.
This is your room.
Okay.
This is your room.
Well, look, I can tell you this after talking to Mickey off air earlier. And he gave me one sentence also. So I'm just happy it wasn't just me, and he gave y'all the same treatment. After that game went off, and I've watched it a couple of times, Everson, and I wish I had a neuralizer thing from Men in Black to just zap my memory from what I saw. Because it was one of those things, and obviously, it's a bunch of backups and guys that you're just wanting to at least get a beat on the kind of player that they are. But coming into the game, I think there were some guys that played, I think that we already knew what they were. They didn't prove anything different to us. You know what? I listened to Coach Brian Schottenheimer in those press conferences say that he was vanilla in the joint practice, and he carried that over to the preseason game as well. We probably got more out of the joint practice than we got out of the preseason game as far as any scheme or anything like that. But as far as just the overall performance of certain players. I think I was looking at the offensive line and the defensive line more than anything.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
And it wasn't until the fourth quarter that I started to see the offensive line get any push. All right. Guys like Maffa, the running back, man, he was running like the rent was due, and I like that. All right. I like that. I like the challenge that he brought. But the defensive line to me was where I really had the biggest concern. And again, these are third and fourth, fifth string guys that we're looking at, but just wanting to get some push. And I know they were dealing with double teams primarily the whole game, but that's what a lot of teams brought to us last season, double teaming the one technique. And if you couldn't anchor down, you were getting pushed into those linebackers, as we talked about the other day. And you still had a little bit of that as well. And so
yeah, a lot of bit of that.
Yeah, so
a lot of bit.
The 31-21 at the end, I just think that it could have been worse. It absolutely could have been worse because I felt like that quarterback missed a lot of wide open guys. But, Bill, you and Isaiah did a wonderful job.
They really did.
And Isaiah was pointing out some things about the defense that I think that Cowboy Nation and other people need to note, that these guys on their front line are just playing too high. The pad level, all of those things.
That's what we said. Everyone's vertical. That's what we said. Everyone's vertical. I remember that term.
And it just made for sloppy play for the defensive line. So that was pretty much my take, but I just wanted to forget the whole thing after I watched it.
And see, with me, yes, those were third and fourth teamers, and no one knew their names. Well, hell, I didn't know any of the Rams' names either. They were third and fourth stringers as well. Yeah. So to me, you have to find an individual within those groups, certain individuals that you can say, okay, that guy improved. And we talked about that last week, about certain guys need to improve. Yeah. I didn't see certain guys improving in that regard. The other thing that I saw, the scheme itself, we know what happened last year. So then we've been practicing all training camp on making our scheme work. The scheme still looks the same because no individual stepped up and made any plays to break that pattern that we have here. And the pattern that we have, 180-plus yards rushing, am I right? In a freaking preseason game, dude? Their blocking seems to be together by those third and fourth stringers. We still got guys vertical. We still have guys can't get off the blocks. And when they do get off the blocks, they're so late, the guy's grabbing onto them, and here comes the running back going full speed. He splits them. That's what we saw all last year. We saw also no coordination in our attack. I don't care how young you are. You still have to know when you got to set the edge, damn it, you got to set the edge. That's number one. Number two, don't get cut off when this guy does set the edge, because there were times when the edge was set, the running back still had room, fake him out, come back inside, and still dip back outside because there was no pursuit.
At all.
We saw the same thing that we saw last year. Yeah. I know it's third and fourth stringers. I get that. But the scheme itself that we've been working on, that we've been trying to improve from last year, all of that training camp is as if it didn't compute in the players' heads.
All right, I'll say one thing about
you couldn't scheme.
Mickey, let me say this one thing, and give you a chance here. It's very difficult not to play too high in the interior of the defensive line when they've got a 5'11" center. Willie Lampkin.
Stop.
Willie Lampkin out of North Carolina, undrafted rookie playing center. And you can find some of the video of him. I think Brandon Thorne is the guy that tweeted out maybe some of it. And his blocking at 5'11", 290 pounds. Yeah. And he's playing in the National Football League.
He was putting in the work because we were running right up the middle.
He's only a little taller than Mickey, and he was putting in the work. All right, Mickey, I just wanted to throw that in.
All right,
now.
Mickey, come on.
It's your turn.
Talk to me.
Their backups were better than the Cowboys' backups, and you can't scheme. Could the scheme change the team in 1989? You can tell me all about scheme, but if I ain't got any players to play the scheme, then how do you know what the scheme is? Look at who played on defense. One guy on that starting defense would start if the Cowboys were in their 4-3 defense, and it would have been Leofow. And you saw him play, right? He was the best defensive player on the field. And he only played 10 snaps. I don't know if Mozzie Smith will start. He started in that game. He played 10 snaps. So they didn't play guys that are going to actually play. They got more, and I don't know if Heckma said this, they got more out of the scrimmage than they did this game because at least they played their guys. Now, if you wanted to criticize them in the scrimmage, go ahead because they played everybody. And look, if you can't get good quarterback play, you can have the greatest scheme in the world, and you're not going to be successful. And the quarterback play was horrible to me.
Yeah.
It was up and down, and you can't overcome a quarterback. You can overcome other things, but you can't overcome the quarterback. And somehow, some way, they put 21 points on the board.
I just wanted to piggyback off of what Everson was saying, and I think not to say anything contradictory to what Mickey is saying. The scheme, when you got a guy setting the edge and the linebacker supposed to be pursuing underneath, and nobody grades out 100% at all in a football game, you know that. But you see guys taking bad angles. You see guys trying to cut underneath the block instead of coming over the top of it, and that's leaving a gaping hole on the back. That's right.
Basic football.
That's it.
You don't have to scheme basic football.
Yeah.
You have to know when there's a tight wide receiver off the line of scrimmage and he goes in motion, they snap the ball. Hey, maybe this guy's going to hit me in my ear hole.
Yeah.
Little things like that. You should know that from college.
Yeah.
You're Defensive Player of the Year. You should know that in college. There's no way you should be surprised by someone trying to stop you from setting the edge. Not only from that individual standpoint, it's what we saw all last year. Mm-hmm. Still giving up the edge from last year. And Spags, there's a scheme, and then there's just knowing football. You don't have to scheme knowing football. You don't have to scheme knowing how to pursue the football. That's what I'm concerned about. I use the word scheme, Spags, but when it comes down to it, this is just basic ABC 1, 2, 3 football. And I'm just a little disappointed that some of these young players, and yes, I know they're young, and I know they're going up against another player, but damn, dude, you can still make a play.
Yeah.
I mean, I can give them all the excuses in the world not to make a play. Give them an excuse to make a play.
How many points did Philadelphia give up? World champions.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Anybody?
We went to 1989.
Their preseason game.
1989 Eagles, because you brought
How many points
Cowboys,
did Philadelphia give up? How many points did
did
Philadelphia give up this weekend? Please help me.
They gave up 27 to the Bengals. They won 34-27.
Okay. And they didn't play anybody on defense. Not a soul.
I mean, here's a good one.
So
the Commanders. How many did the Commanders give up? They gave up 48 points to the Patriots.
Ruh-roh.
Bad scheme. Bad scheme. You guys, you just have to put it in context of what you saw. That's all I'm saying. Now, if that was the frontline players out there, then I'm with you, right? They didn't have – Leofau was the only starter on the field, and he played 10 snaps. So half the guys you saw play –
The 49ers gave up 30.
You're setting the bar too low, Spags. Don't
no, I'm not, because these guys aren't going to be on
the best dad.
They're not going to be on the team.
No one would ever. Everyone wants to spend the night at your house. Nobody wants to spend the night at my house. You're the best.
Well, I would not want to be at your house. Yeah, because you're gonna put the real children to bed, and you're gonna have all these neighborhood kids trying to run the house cold.
You're gonna put your own kids to bed, and the neighborhood kids.
Right.
They can do whatever they want to do all
If
night.
my neighborhood kids were good,
they can do it.
My kids would suck the way these guys suck, then damn it, they would understand.
All right, when we can.
All I know is there's 90 guys. There's 90 guys on this roster, and I guarantee you 45 of them from Saturday night aren't going to be on the team.
Oh, wow. Okay, when we come back, Mickey will tell us which 45 are not going to be on the team.
I can figure it out.
And so you'll tell them. I got a list myself, Everson. Let's compare.
Let's talk quarterbacks when we come back here on Mix Shots in just a moment.
Miller Lite, the legendary light beer. The originator, the inventor. If this beer could talk, it'd tell stories about that one time, that night, that one guy, that one gal. Writing a story 50 years long and 50 million friends wide. Because legendary stories start with a light. Here's to 50 years of Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
AT&T has a new guarantee because most things in life are not guaranteed, like getting through self-checkout by yourself.
Warning, each item must be placed in the bagging area.
Not guaranteed.
Place item in the bagging area. Place item in the bagging area.
You know what AT&T guarantees? Connectivity you depend on, deals you want, and service you deserve. Or we make it right. Terms and conditions apply. Visit att.com/guarantee for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
The National Medal of Honor Museum is now open in Arlington, Texas, just a few blocks from AT&T Stadium. Immersive exhibits and exciting technology allow you to fly a rescue helicopter mission in Vietnam and have conversations with virtual Medal of Honor recipients. Come be inspired by these incredible stories of ordinary Americans who did the extraordinary. Get your tickets at mohmuseum.org.
Back to Mixed Shots.
The boys are back. See your Dallas Cowboys up close at training camp August 19th and 20th at the Star in Frisco. Enjoy open practices, fun fans, and more. Admission is free, so learn more at dallascowboys.com/training camp.
All right.
My daughter and I are coming to that.
All right.
She wants to come. So
all right. Sweet. Okay. Despite what happened on Saturday.
Exactly. She's die hard. Die hard.
I understand.
All right. We continue here on Mix Shots. And I teased we talk quarterbacks when we come back here. And Mickey's already hit on it a little bit about the quarterback play. Mm-hmm. Let's dive into Joe Milton here. And here were his numbers from Saturday night. 17 of 29. 143 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Also, which don't show up in those numbers, was a 2-point conversion pass that was completed as well. Mickey, let's start with you. Just your overall take on what you saw from Joe Milton in Cowboys preseason game number 1.
Yeah, I thought at best it was average. He gave himself a D minus. Here's my deal. He missed too many open wide receivers.
Yes, he did.
There were too many times he was late on the throw, and he's trying to use his arm to compensate what his eyes didn't see soon enough. And sometimes it just doesn't work when you're trying to fit it in to a small window. If I was them, and I understand he hasn't played a lot, but what if he has to play? If he's your backup quarterback, I don't know that you can feel good about that at this point. And the clock's ticking. They only got 2 more preseason games to go. And I don't know how much better you get after you've had that many snaps and now you get to play again. He just doesn't have enough experience to compensate for whatever talent he has. And so from a backup quarterback standpoint, to me, you got to rely on your experience. You've seen things. You've done things. He's played one NFL game. And I always thought from the minute they traded for him, and everybody said, well, the Cowboys got their backup quarterback. Well, maybe he's the backup quarterback of the future, but if you go off that performance, I don't think he's your backup quarterback today.
You know, Spags, you talked about his lack of experience, so this would be his second NFL game, correct?
Well, he played in the preseason last year.
He played
for the
3
Patriots,
preseason games. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he had the one regular season game at the end of the year last year against Buffalo backup players, last regular season game.
And it's a different scheme as well, right? I mean, you're talking about a whole different offense that he had to learn when he came here. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so when you start
on trial,
well, I know that did sound
dirty.
Objection.
leading. No,
Joe Milton's on trial here.
I did see, Spags, some really bad throws. I wanted to see more improvement because I thought in training camp he was looking decent. But once he got under the center in this game, he totally digressed. I don't know how he was able to do that so quickly. I mean, from pass one. And so that was a little bit disheartening. You could see the talent, though. You could see the physical ability that he has. Some of the throws that he made last night were amazing. And some of the throws he made, oh, my God. One guy came across the middle on, I think it was a rollout. He was wide open. I mean, there was no one around him. And I don't know where the hell he was throwing the ball, but it was nowhere close to a wide open receiver, and it wasn't off of a scramble. This was designed for that. He's supposed to hit him where he's supposed to hit him. He was nowhere close. That is disheartening because it lets you know that he can be extremely erratic. And that's not what we need right now from a backup quarterback. I wish he would come along faster. Maybe the rest of these preseason games, they might try and get him in because as the game went on, except for that disastrous pass I just spoke of previously, he looked decent enough without committing too many turnovers. And that's what I worry about. Silly turnovers if we have a backup come in and a guy missing wide open players. Once he got warmed up a bit, he did show what his potential is, but we can't win on potential.
He had one interception on the throw in the end zone. He could have had 3 interceptions.
Yes.
One early, and then there was one that Charles Woods could have taken to the house.
Yeah.
So.
I just felt, look, here's, for me, Joe Milton, I'm going to allow some grace here in his first preseason game. And the reason being is for what you just talked about, him coming from one system to another. And he's still a developing quarterback. When you think about the NFL and the guys that had a Hollister for an arm, guys like Bubby Brister, Jeff George, guys like that, but Brett Favre. But the one thing that they did have, they had touch. They could a little bit of touch, maybe not Bubby Brister, but I'm just saying, a little bit of touch on those passes.
Bubby Brister.
Yeah, but it just seemed like for a rookie quarterback or a second-year quarterback, what do you want to do? You want him to get comfortable by throwing the short stuff, and he couldn't throw that. And it was a guy right there coming across the coverage, just dump it down to him, make the easy throws. And again, maybe it was his nerves, maybe whatever it was. It's sometimes a guy can be erratic because of that. But I think bad quarterbacks all have a certain trait. They're late and they throw the ball behind, and that's a defense's dream, because most of the time that goes the other way. He still has to develop. And in the development phase of this, I know there's not going to be a lot of grace for that because we've seen Dak Prescott get hurt. We've seen the backup have to step in at least for a few games. And I don't know after that preseason game if you still have the confidence that Joe Milton can do that. So, look, I'm anxious to see if he calms his nerves a little bit and comes out better against Baltimore at home.
Same here.
And that's Saturday night against Baltimore at home, and then the following Friday against Atlanta. Okay, Mickey, go ahead.
I was going to say, so you're giving him a pass, but the other guys you're saying they should know the system better. You can't have it both ways, right?
I actually can in this situation because he's the quarterback and he is a guy that's coming in brand new to the team. The guys that I'm talking about,
the center might be the center might
I'm not
be
talking about a brand new guy. That's why I'm giving him that grace, Mick.
The center might be
over that.
Wait, the center might be brand new, right? The right guard might be brand new. The defensive tackle might be brand new. But you graded them like they were starters, and now when the backup quarterback comes in and starts, you're saying, well, we got to be patient.
Spags, I'm grading them as football players. When it comes to playing quarterback, you got to know how to throw the ball, but you also have to know a scheme. When I'm talking about basic pursuit technique, you don't have to be a starter to do that. That's like running
How
drills.
about a basic 10-yard pass?
If we do a pursuit drill in practice and I see a lineman that doesn't know how to pursue, that's the same as that. But if you're talking about playing quarterback,
I want a quarterback that can throw a 10-yard pass.
Me too.
I want a quarterback that can throw a 10-yard pass.
Oh, yeah.
That had got nothing to do with scheme or inexperience.
Now we're still on his butt, Spags.
He's not. What I'm saying is he's not ready.
Oh, we are too. We're saying that as well. We agree with you.
So my guess is Adonijah might not be ready to start at right tackle.
That's Hakeem Adeniji.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which means
number 75.
Okay.
Did you know he was on the field?
He saw him on the sack. Josiah Stewart had a sack, went by the right tackle, 75.
See, Bill knew it.
Yeah.
All right. As far as the Will Grier comes into the game after, and apparently Milton's okay, right? The elbow is okay. From what you understand,
they're saying, it wasn't. Yeah, they were saying that it wasn't serious. He said it's like he hit his funny bone. He was throwing passes on the sideline by the bench, and he grabbed his helmet like he was going back in, and they said, "Nah, let's just not take any chances."
What I'm about to say has nothing to do with Will Grier's performance on Saturday night at all. But if you go back and look at Will Grier's career, he's now 30 years old, and his talent coming out, not only going back to even high school, he's National Player of the Year in high school, then he goes to Florida. He has a redshirt freshman. He becomes a starter at Florida. Started 6 games, and then the NCAA came down on him. He bought used a over-the-counter drug that got on the NCAA list, and he didn't check with his trainers. He got suspended for a year, so he winds up having to transfer to West Virginia. Finished 4th in the Heisman voting at West Virginia. Now, in the NFL, he started 2 games. He's a third-round pick of the Panthers, okay? Started 2 games for Carolina. I don't know what all went on there. Okay, so now he's been a journeyman since. Came here, then last year he was with a couple of different teams, wound up on Philadelphia's practice squad. Cowboys pick him up late in the year. Now he's back here, okay? And we've seen him play in the preseason before, whatever. The only reason I even bring this up is I'm scratched my head ever since, okay, brought him back last year, and then Schottenheimer seems to like him. Okay, Dak, he fits in well in the quarterback room with Dak. Okay, now he's here. I'm sitting there going, okay, now he's 30 years old, and does he have a spot on this roster once September hits? So it's going to be interesting to see, and if he gets some playing time here. But what I'm getting to is, I look around the league and I see Case Keenum. I mean, it was a world of difference yesterday in the Chicago game. I'm sitting there watching him. When he comes into the game as a 37-year-old in these preseason games, he knows exactly where to. He looked like a precision. And, of course, Case Keenum had his opportunity with Minnesota. Yes. This is going back now 8 years ago, 2017.
That's right.
Okay, leads them to the playoffs, and then he got a conference championship game, didn't they? Right there, and they lost to the Eagles. in the championship game in 17. Okay, then he goes to Denver, whatever. And now he sits here forever. Okay. I look at Geno Smith. Geno Smith out of the same school Will Greer was at West Virginia. And he gets, because he was a high draft pick, he plays immediately with the Jets, starts for 2 years, and is a bust, quote-unquote bust. Then he sits for a decade, basically. It wasn't quite a decade, but it was a good 6 or 7 years where he doesn't get an opportunity at all. Then he's out of football. He doesn't even play in 2019. And then he's with Seattle, and then he becomes a starter, and then and so my point on all this is experience matters so much in this league.
That's why I'm giving
for a guy like Joe Milton, for a guy like Trey Lance, for those kind of guys. If you don't get that opportunity, then you can't improve as a quarterback. So this is the opportunity for Joe Milton to improve. Dak Prescott, what's the best thing that happened to Dak Prescott in 2016? It wasn't Tony Romo's injury, which gave him a chance. The best thing that happened for him is they had an offensive line. The Cowboys had an offensive line in front of them that a fourth-round draft pick was able to have success his first year, get his sea legs in the league, and the rest, as they say, is history. And so that's just a little perspective. I don't even with Will Greer, I count him in the hunt here to win a spot on this roster.
But you got to have a roster offensively such as that one.
That's right.
I don't think we have that roster offensively on offensive line. I mean offensive line.
They're building it, but it's not
trying. We're trying to get that culture back. But we had that culture of a running game with DeMarco Murray. Did I say it right? And with when he was there with Romo.
And then Zeke came in 2016.
And then Zeke came. So we had that culture was already established. We don't have that reestablished here yet.
Yep. You have anything to add to that, Mickey?
Well, here's the comparable. What's the difference between Joe Milton and Trey Lance?
Experience.
What's the difference between them?
Oh, you said Trey Lance.
It's the same guy.
They're the
it's
same.
The same guy.
Milton since 2018, Milton has thrown 100 more passes than Trey Lance has since 2018, which isn't much for either one of them.
And what was Trey Lance last year? The third quarterback, right?
Yep.
So you said he's the third quarterback here?
I think he should be.
Yeah.
But I don't know who's the backup. Yeah. Is the backup somewhere, I don't know, some other team's going to cut some quarterbacks.
Milton's still got a couple more opportunities here to prove he can be the number 2 guy here.
And that's what I talked about. Maybe these remaining preseason games, he might be able to
see that improvement.
Show some improvement and get more of a comfort zone. Because you could clearly see that the kid was nervous. And I don't know, I understand that the kid is nervous. He's coming to a new system, new team, all of that. But I still wanted him to be able to throw basic passes to get himself comfortable. Now, I don't know if the wide receivers and he were not on the same page. That could have been a problem. But whatever it is, if I'm a coach, I'm going to send him out there under conditions that are going to make sure that he can succeed. And I believe that's what they tried to do. With that result, they did not do it. That's why I'm disappointed.
Well, I can't believe Mickey called me out when I was trying to be diplomatic. Okay, I was trying to be diplomatic.
Well, you weren't being weren't being diplomatic with the offense and defensive lines. No, you weren't.
All right,
you were crushing them.
All right.
Well, I was crushing them.
It's the wrong guy. The wrong guy.
Okay. We will try to reach Mickey's standards for his show when we come back here on Mix Shots in just a moment.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pregame sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
The National Medal of Honor Museum is now open in Arlington, Texas, just a few blocks from AT&T Stadium. Immersive exhibits and exciting technology allow you to fly a rescue helicopter mission in Vietnam and have conversations with virtual Medal of Honor recipients. Come be inspired by these incredible stories of ordinary Americans who did the extraordinary. Get your tickets at mohmuseum.org.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman here. As the official pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys, you know I take cookware seriously, especially when it comes to America's team. So when the Cowboys are away, I'm putting my Yeti cast iron skillets to work to make my game day favorites for friends and family. I'm talking chicken fried steak, skillet queso, and peach cobbler. And just like the Cowboys are forever, so are these heirloom cast iron skillets. Check out the full line of skillets on Yeti.com or at a Yeti store near you.
Miller Lite, the legendary light beer. The originator, the inventor. If this beer could talk, it'd tell stories about that one time, that night, that one guy, that one gal. Writing a story 50 years long and 50 million friends wide. Because legendary stories start with a light. Here's to 50 years of Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Back to Mick Shots.
No one
Cowboys
working out
Nation.
here.
The 2025 Dallas Cowboys schedule is officially here, and limited tickets are available now. Get ready to bring the noise as you watch your Cowboys live at AT&T Stadium when they host the NFC East rivals Eagles, Giants, and Commanders, plus the Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Vikings, and Cardinals. Visit DallasCowboys.com/tickets or SeatGeek.com, the official primary ticketing partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, we continue on Mick Shots, our final segment here. We are in Frisco, where right now it's 87 degrees with a high of 94. We had a cold front come through this week. The high in the next couple of days, 92 degrees.
It felt good this morning, actually.
Here in Frisco,
I had my
that's
windows
right.
down. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mickey is in Oxnard for a few more days where it's still 65 degrees.
Yeah,
it's constantly 65 degrees there in Oxnard. But the Cowboys break camp on Thursday. They come home, they play Baltimore on Saturday night, then the final preseason game the following Friday against Atlanta, and open practices next week on Tuesday and Wednesday, the 19th and the 20th. Hey, how about this? The final roster cuts across the league, it's 2 weeks from tomorrow on August 26th. That's how close we are to getting this thing started.
Let's go.
Officially, okay? All right. How about a standout or two who caught your eye in a positive way on Saturday night? Start with you, Everson, then go Heckma, and then
I'm
Mickey.
so glad you want to start me because I still have a little side note here. As much as I loved you guys in the booth, I hated the broadcasting of the show itself. There were not enough replays.
Okay.
Not nearly enough replays because I'm trying to figure out who's making tackle, what number is this guy, what number is that guy.
You wanted another
Thank
replay
God
of CD on the sideline.
Man,
too,
come on.
probably.
Oh, yeah. I did see that from the local news. That was.
Yeah, they got it from.
That was incredible.
From our broadcast, too.
Okay, yeah, that was great. That was the best.
Kyle Yeoman was all over that on the sideline, by the way.
That was the best that they did. Otherwise, I couldn't tell who was who half the time because they were just moving on with the game. But they did have one player. You talked about him, number 48, if I'm not mistaken. He was a linebacker. And you talked about how he
no, it's a safety, Zion Childress.
Childress.
Yeah.
Good player.
Yep.
Good player. Made a lot of
Out
nice
of Kentucky,
plays.
he started his career at Texas State. But he has opened up some eyes from the get-go.
He reminded me, even though I think it's a different position, he reminded me of Louis in the way how he played.
Downhill,
the aggressiveness, diagnosing quickly and making moves. But when you're the only one doing that, it doesn't turn out well because as he's turning things in, they're still able to get outside because, once again, we talked about that, no pursuit coming from the inside. But I thought that he did a damn good job.
In sub packages, especially, I mean, he's in contention too. And the way he was used by Mark Stoops at Kentucky, last year he had 6 tackles for loss.
You bragged on him real well.
Yeah,
he did a good job.
Well, thank you. That's one guy that I did some research on. He was also a 2-year team captain at Kentucky. I always liked that in the big green notebook too.
Mm-hmm.
But he's 5'11", 203, so he's a DB.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
So, but the instincts and all of that looks like
it's a Sean Lee type of thing. We always talk about Sean Lee with the quick diagnosis, playing downhill.
Good eye there.
Yeah,
48, Zion Childress.
If you're gonna be wrong fast.
That's right.
Do it all fast. Marsh Leofau obviously jumped off the page for me, and I came in looking for him to be that player. But I also was looking at Shamar James, our rookie, number 50. They said a lot about him coming out of Oxnard, so I wanted to see what he looked like. I mean, look, he wasn't running around blocks, things. It's not like he made any just big-time plays, but just seeing him as a rookie in the way that he conducted himself, I think that's better than anything. Just seeing a guy, is he out there playing wild? Is he running?
He was where he was supposed to be.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so he wasn't getting blown out of gaps, things like that. So, I mean, look, 35 and 50 for me, and linebacker was where I was looking, and I was impressed there.
And the other thing about Shamar James, he's so young. He just turned 21 last month. And so that's another guy that's he's got a lot of promise. All right, Mickey, who's a guy for you?
Well, I'm not going to go with the obvious one, Malik Davis, right? We talked about him a little bit earlier.
We talked about him doing the break.
But a young guy that has been stepping up here and might force their hand, wide receiver Trayshawn Holden.
Yes.
He's a rookie free agent, and he just keeps making plays. Now, I don't know if there's room at the end, because if you look at the wide receiver position, you can almost name 5 guys. I think there's like 3 guys that are trying to say, you got to keep 6. And I think he's one of them. I think he's on the practice squad for sure.
Can he play special teams?
That's a question.
That's a thing that I'm not sure of. I don't think he's a return guy. And if he was a return guy, he would be a backup return guy because we know who the return guy is. But as a
cover kicks. That's the question.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you try the plays he's making, and you saw him make a couple back-to-back in the game, and he's made some spectacular catches out here in practice, you might not be able to get him to the practice squad because somebody might say, well, I kind of like that guy. Now, I know everybody out there has a receiver like this. And so you sit there and go, well, I don't know if we can get him to the practice squad. Well, I think everybody's got somebody like him that's coming out of nowhere. But I think he's been a pleasant surprise for this offensive staff, the way he conducts himself. And remember, he was at Oregon where Junior Adams, the wide receiver coach, was, and he kind of got him here. So he knows a lot about him.
I guarantee you, Mickey, he may have been a pleasant surprise to the rest of the staff. I guarantee you he's not a surprise to his position coach, Junior Adams, who, as you just mentioned, had him for 2 years at Oregon. And they had some studs at the wide receiver position at Oregon, too. And he had 45 catches and 5 touchdowns last year. And his first year at Oregon, 37 catches and 6 touchdowns with Bo Nix throwing him the ball. And, by the way, prior to that, he was at Alabama. And so he had a lot of talent coming out of high school. The reason he went undrafted, though.
His character.
Well, that was a question. And also a 4.57 40. 32 vertical, 10-3 broad jump, not great explosion there. And that's a reason why, goes undrafted. There's a whole bunch of wide receivers that are going to become available 2 weeks from tomorrow. And so you might be able to slip him through, but we'll see.
Yeah, not only him, but also Jalen Brooks, if we can mention him, Jalen Brooks. And you talk about a guy that can do it on special teams. You know he could be a gunner for you. I think it's a curious case for this guy Holden, and if he can continue to make plays like this, again, all the whispers coming out of Oxnard is he's putting a lot of pressure on guys that have been comfortable with being on this roster, but not making any plays from the 5th and 4th wide receiver standpoint. So there's some jobs in danger if he continues to play like this.
My thing is, practice is one thing. I got to see something in the game. I just remember when me and Mike came out. Mike Downs showed himself on the practice field, and he showed himself in the game immediately. Special teams. Mike Downs' first play that he made, blocked the punt. He made that in the game, you see? Mm-hmm. So I'm not talking about potential in the practice field. I'm talking about playing in a ball game, making plays in the game. I don't care about practice. I'm talking about making plays in the game. Show me that you can do something. Guys like that, we knew they came out right away making plays in the preseason games.
Everson, isn't it something when they turn the score clock on, guys changed the whole. I don't know what it. Only thing happened was they turned the scoreboard on.
But I think it's like when like in the gym, like when I play basketball. There's one thing to be in your gym, but then when you go to a big gym, at a big school, all of a sudden the basket looks different. Mm-hmm. The depth perception is different. All of a sudden everything changes. The lights are brighter. Yeah. And that's where you find your players. Yeah. When you have those kind of issues, the ones that can adjust to that and who are not afraid, and their whole idea, their whole mindset is, I am not going to fail.
You know who comes to mind? Israel Mukwamu.
Yeah.
Izzy Mukwamu. Hadn't heard
24.
anything from him.
Because you wore number 24.
Yeah, I'm right.
Hadn't heard anything about him in practice, and then all of a sudden he makes an outstanding.
He does it every preseason.
Outstanding interception.
Yeah. All right, Mickey, wrap it up for us.
So the bottom line to this whole thing is that when we were talking about, who played and who didn't play, when they get into a real game with the real players in there and somebody gets hurt, and it's like, okay, TJ Bass, you're in the ball game, right? But he's not bringing Sadiq Charles with him. He's not bringing Brock Hoffman with him. He's not bringing Adeniji with him. It's just one guy going in to fill a spot. So it's hard to judge a lot of this when you're playing a whole unit of backups, right? So I think you got to be able to see the starters in there, and then you can talk about the system. Then you can talk about the talent. But when you're playing backups, and I looked at Philadelphia, the entire team was playing with backups, right? So I think you just have to kind of at ease with the analysis of the whole game, and you got to just look at individual players like you guys did, pointing out Leofau, pointing out Ezeraku, guys like that, James. Now, he wasn't perfect because he missed a couple coverages, but you saw him make some plays, and that's what you have to do. But you can't judge everybody in a group when that group is not going to play. And if it is going to play, then you're in trouble.
All right. And by the way, speaking of the Eagles, the injury coming out of their camp this morning, or was it yesterday? Landon Dickerson. I was just searching to see if there was an update. A leg injury, and he was carted off from practice yesterday. A Pro Bowl offensive guard for them.
Wow.
So that would be big. So we'll see.
Wow.
But I have not seen an update.
They stopped the game because
this was at practice yesterday.
Well, I'm talking about they actually stopped a preseason game because someone.
The Detroit game was off. Yeah, and apparently he's doing all right.
He's okay.
Yeah. So
to stop the game. Whew.
Yeah. All right. That does it for this edition of Mix Shots. How about we do it again at 11 o'clock Central Time on Wednesday? You want to do that?
Of course.
Cool.
All right. Thanks for joining us here for Mix Shots, and we'll see you Wednesday at 11.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!